Welcome in, my death-defying cubs. I am, as always, your favorite friendly despair bear, Annakuma, and we're back with yet another demo review. This time, this was a limited-time sneak peek of a game called The Drifter. This game kind of came out of nowhere one Wednesday morning on Twitter. I follow a lot of very good point-and-click developers on there, and this is where I get much of my demo news from. I hadn't heard of this game at all until then. So when I saw their demo was only going to be up for a few more days, I jumped on the chance of trying it out and having it be the first of my demo series that isn't a game I'm super late making the video for, because it isn't out yet and it has no release date. So what you may be asking is The Drifter. Created by Powerhoofs, it claims to be a pulp adventure thriller, and honestly it lives up to that in the very short sneak peek we get. You play as Mick Carter, who is, as the title suggests, a drifter. A drifter being someone who is constantly moving from place to place without a fixed address or job. Mick is on his way back home to meet up with his sister for their mother's funeral. Having been gone for half a decade already, his return isn't something he is really looking forward to, and we first encounter our main character in the back of a freight train, contemplating why he's even bothering to go back.
Hey, sorry about, disappearing for half a decade. Jesus.
It doesn't take long for the Drifter to hit you with its fast-paced action. You might wonder just how fast-paced point-and-click games can be, but they really make you start to think fast on how to overcome the obstacles that get in your way. After an explosive start, we end up solving the very modern problem of just how to charge your phone in a homeless encampment under a bridge before being not only thrown into a bigger conspiracy, but my absolute favorite thing in the world. That is right, ladies and gentle bears, we are doing a time loop. Before I go into the story though, I want to just talk about how easy they make everything in this game. It is such a smooth experience to play through. Your cursor will automatically update to whatever action is needed over any given object. If you roll your mouse over various areas on the screen, you get a neat pop-up in the corner that will tell you what it is you're looking at without needing to have a look button. Mick narrates everything he sees and does. It makes the game flow seamlessly and gives the overall feel that you and your cursor truly are just an extension of Mick. You don't have to force him to go and do things that don't make sense. He doesn't have to wander up to a window with a click of a button for you to have this inner monologue tell you that you're looking at a window. It feels like the game really wants you to immerse yourself into Mick's life and be inside his head at every point of the game. This is so noticeable with the inventory management as well. We obviously have an item inventory, but the game also has a note area, so you can keep up to date with the mysteries you currently have on your hands. Both are just two tabs at the top of the screen. You hover over whichever tab you need, and it will pop down with all the information. It also stops time, which is a handy little touch for our time shenanigans later. Again, whilst in these menus, a quick hover over any item will give you a brief explanation of whatever it is you're looking at. And using inventory items is as easy as clicking on it, then clicking on whatever you need to use it with. Okay, so pointing and clicking with items doesn't really sound like a breakthrough, and I can't really tell you why it felt so much more fluid and easy to handle in The Drifter than some other games I've played recently. Just to compare it to a game I did a demo review of recently, and I'm gearing up to play on stream, it's Grim Up North. That inventory system is cool to look at, being the inside of the character Terry's coat, with even the tiny detail of his name sewn into the jacket itself, but it requires you to click on the close button to even get out of the inventory, which takes up what feels like half of the screen half the time as well. Overly complicating inventory systems might be the wrong way to word it, but it generally becomes a chore at times with games like that. Everything about The Drifter is just smooth and easy to deal with, again like an extension of Mick himself. He doesn't need to be told to close his pocket, or even to put something away. Just one click in an empty space on screen and he realizes you aren't using the item and puts it away again. Even coming out of conversations is as easy as just walking away from whomever it is that you are currently talking to, meaning accidentally clicking to talk on someone doesn't force you into dialogue you don't need to deal with. Now that does make the gameplay nice, fast and smooth, but out of all of the points I just listed, this is the one that stops it feeling supernatural, as no one really reacts to you being in the middle of a conversation with them and then just walking away from them. But at the same time, it still feels more natural than sitting there having to say the same goodbye 20 times for no reason as well. Overall, the game mechanics are just appreciated for being smooth to handle and really putting you in the mindset of the character instead of feeling clunky and bothersome. Back to the story though, and I mentioned time loops. Here we go, time loops. I don't know if that is necessarily what this is called, but our man cannot die. After unearthing a conspiracy about homeless people going missing, being shot at by some strange people, and finding a reporter that he was talking to kidnapped by guys in weird outfits, our man is given a lovely pair of concrete boots and chucked into the water.
Sudden icy cold shocks me awake. Frozen, can't move, can't feel. I see only blackness.
This scene is honestly the one that made me go, this game is gonna be fantastic. For a start, you get thrown in with no real idea that this game is going to let you repeat the scene as many times as you can. The sides are dark because he's got a hood on, and you just see the slit of world that Mick is actually currently occupying until he dies. You have a knife in your inventory, and you know that you need to use the knife, right? But he's panicking, because of course he is. Who wouldn't be panicking? And then you die. Then the scene starts over again. Mick is confused about being re-alived, but this time he has some more wits about him. So you can struggle to get your hands free. You are forced before you try to cut your leg ties off, to try to take the bag off of your head, and you are faced with one of the best and most impactful scenes I've seen so far this year.
Oh God.
Those sites that were blacked out to begin with suddenly pop into view, and everywhere surrounding you are the dead bodies of the homeless people who have gone missing. Or I guess at least that's what it's implying. It's never really confirmed these are definitely the homeless people. The game ends not long after this scene, but either way, it's a scene that will stick with you the minute you see it. At this point, whilst you are trying to take in what you've just seen, it's also time to figure out just how to survive. It isn't as easy as just bending down and cutting your feet free, because of course it isn't. That means effort, which means exerting yourself more. It might take a few attempts to figure it out, but like the rest of the game, the restart into your new try is just so refreshingly sharp and smooth that you don't start to get tired of an overly long cutscene or having to redo too much, and each time Mick himself is very aware of the steps he has to take and doesn't repeat too much of his dialogue or reactions. The demo ends with a little look at what is to come, and it left me with so many more questions, like who are half of these characters? What happens to Mike? And what even is it that we had just witnessed? Even that small look into what the game is gonna be when it comes out makes me realize that whilst this demo felt like it gave you a great premise of what is happening, in actual fact, something much bigger is happening in this world, and this is just the first step into the mysteries for us and for Mike. As you can probably tell at this point, I'm super hyped for this game, and with good reason. It looks amazing. The details in the artwork are fantastic. Even just the start, when you get into the game, and the animation of the train going past the start screen is beautifully done. I love the shot, as weird as this is to say, of the other guy in the train being shot. It felt so cinematic, with him silhouetted in that doorway, with the stark contrast of the blinding white lights, the grimy dark colors of the carriage, and the black shadow of a human, and suddenly our life is filled with this bright red as he's shot to death. There are a couple unique screens in this demo, and whilst they aren't huge areas to look at, they are just perfect. You get that feeling of being out of place in such a normal world. They don't try to make the homeless people seem more grotty and horrible just to make the area seem bad or be sad for these people. It just feels very real. We go from this hectic and strange scene in the train to just a very normal, if sad, place in the world, quiet and calm. That being said, the reveal of the bodies in the water actually made me sit there and audibly go, oh my. It was such a strong visual. At that moment, I felt like Mick, choking in this cold and dark space. Now, I've been telling people that the vibe of this game is Australia meets Stranger Things, and there are two reasons. First up is the game is fully voice acted, and voice acted by, well, Australians. At first, I'm not sure why, but Mick's voice was kind of jarring, but I understood very fast why he was narrating the way he was, and what was going on, and it becomes less jarring as you go on. They do a very good job of bringing characters to life. There are only a few you talk to in the game, but they all have various different personalities, from a terrified homeless guy, a nosy young reporter, and an older gentleman down on his luck who Mick once knew when he lived in town. The dialogue is so natural. Mick is kind and familiar with Bill, who he has a past with. He's harsher with Angela, who looks like she's out of her depth and hanging around to be edgy and lord over the homeless people. At no point does he come over as rude with her though. He's slightly more harsher in tone, but when she pulls out a knife that she's brought to defend herself with, he instantly softens that tone to worry for her safety. It is one thing I'm really looking forward to going forward into the main game. I want to see how they tackle even more characters. In this short period, it is easy to have a very positive experience with so few characters to interact with, so it will be fun to dive into the world and meet all the unique people we'll get to meet in this world. The thing that gave me the true Stranger Things vibe was the color palette and the music score. It gives this dark yet bright synthy 80s feel to the game as you wander around exploring it. It also, I guess, helps that there is this grim mystery in the background, but I really enjoyed it. It was very chill vibes till it wasn't, I guess. Even when we were talking about the missing people, I never thought I'd end up at the bottom of the body of water with a bunch of dead bodies. Hell, the guy is shot in the first 5 minutes of the demo, and I managed to forget that amazing scene and just have fun wandering around for 20 minutes solving puzzles. Talking of the puzzles, I guess like all good demos, there aren't too many of them, but they are all very well designed. All of them are inventory item puzzles, as you can imagine, and super easy to solve. It took me about 30 minutes to finish the demo whilst pressing on everything I could and talking to everyone I could. It's very easily signposted with in-game context clues what to do, and the game is made much more simple with its action buttons. As I said, you can only interact with things in such a way that the game allows you to, so you don't have much to confuse you or get in your way. It also makes things pretty easy to find, to pick up and interact with, even if I was frustrated the entire time I was in the train that I couldn't pick up my bag yet. You might wonder if that makes the game a little too easy, and I'd say no. I think the difficulty will be coming in figuring out how to get through the events that happen around us. I could have died more times than I did underwater just trying to piece together what I had to do. These dev puzzles look like they're going to make you think outside of the box a little, and not just be linear use X with Y type puzzles. As I said, the first time you're in there, you can't even react because Mick is panicking, so you have to die there just to see the mechanic begin, and even then you have to go through the scene a few times with the little bits of information on how you did the puzzle wrong the first time to go on with. And that isn't to say the full release won't have a wide variety of puzzles as well. I just think they focus more on making sure people can get into the story than worrying about hiding things in the background to frustrate people. And whilst I'm not necessarily against pixel hunting and stuff like that, having grown up with the old point-and-click games, it is nice to see that they've picked storytelling and style over making things more complicated just to prolong the game. Overall, the game is gripping and fun, which is all you can ask of it. I saw this demo pop up on Twitter, as I said before, but had never heard anything about it before that one tweet that was retweeted. But after playing this 30-minute demo, I was absolutely on board with it. I really have no negatives to speak of from what we've seen so far, and other than the very normal, will it live up to the demo hype worries, I don't think I have a single worry either. The voice acting feels natural, the world is just so very alive, and the gameplay is simple. Everything about the game feels like you truly are living this experience with Mick, and I can't wait to jump into it. Unlike my previous demo reviews, again, which are all games that released before I could get anything out there for them, which was my bad for not doing my job for months on end, this game has no release date yet, as I said before. I very much wish Powerhoofs and Dave Lloyd good luck with the work going into this title, and will for sure be picking this game up the moment it releases. But for now, that is all, my friends, and I must go back once more to my bear cave and think of something else to write about. As I keep saying in these videos, I came up with the idea earlier in the year, and I have played countless demos that I want to make videos of. I don't know if my ability to get a video out a week will continue, but I'm going to try my hardest, as always. I also recently went back to look at scripts I have for some longer format reviews of older games and games I finished on stream, and started to rewrite at least one, and realized that maybe it is time I went into very long format videos for my reviews, but we'll see how that goes. For now, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe, leave a like and a comment to support me. We're very close over here to 100 subscribers now, so that would be a very nice YouTube goal to hit this year. As always though, my full-time job is streaming. It is the thing that really takes up most of my time, and I would be absolutely delighted to have you join us over at twitch.tv youtube.com/aworker89, where we stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Last video, I talked about a lot of games that we had already completed before the video even came out, but we're currently working through DMC3. We're about to start up Ultra Despair Girls in the coming weeks, and we always have our big community days on Sundays. We have a 1K goal for followers over there, and I do play a lot of point-and-click adventure games on my channel, so please think about giving your bear over here a follow on Twitch. That is it though, my friends. As always, make sure you keep away from strange-looking men on boats. Always charge your phone, and until next time, look after yourself. Thank you, and bye-bye.
I kick to the surface, glimpse brutalist concrete rising from the chop, and swim towards it. Collapsed on the embankment, shivering in the bitter wind. I try to make sense of what's happened. I died. They killed me. But I am no longer dead.